David Nkopola Lamangoji kumene kuli mkumano waukulu wa anamandwa ogwira ntchito za insurance Malawi muno. Mkumano umenewu umakhozedwa chaka ndi chaka ndi bungwe lija la Insurance Institute of Malawi. Imene litu ndi bungwe loona za maphunziro makamakatu a anthu opanga ntchito za insurance. Cholinga chake kufuna kupititsa patsogolo maphunziro komanso ntchito za insurance Malawi muno. Ndi mkumano umenewu udayamba dzulo nthawi yakumasana ukupitirira lero komanso tu uthe ndithu masana amawa. Mlendo wamkulu pa mwambo umenewu anali ndithu mayi Janet Banda amene ndi wachiwiri kwa Secretary to the President and Cabinet, ndipo atsekulira mkumano umenewu. Pano tsopano tione ma presentations ochokera ndithu kuma sponsors osiyanasiyana komanso tu anthu amene akuyenera kuyankhula pa mkumanowu. Mosataya nthawi tiyendetsatire bwino lomwe zochitika pa mkumano umenewu.
To make it interesting, so that you're not thinking about the bowels that need to be stretched in a few minutes. As Sharon said, my name is Tumusime Msimuko, Tumu in short, and I want to talk to you all about your relationship with money. So, So I'll be talking about private wealth management, and in particular, I'll focus a lot more on retirement planning. So as I was saying, we all have money, and sometimes people are made to think that when you say I love money, it's a bad thing. But for those that read the Bible, you may have come across this verse. Ecclesiastes 10, verse 19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answers all things. Because we need money for anything that we do. We need money to survive every day. We need money to take care of ourselves, our children, and our families. So let's not be shy about this conversation. Let's not talk about money and how best we can manage it. So what I want to talk to you about today is about, like I said, I'll be focusing on retirement. There will come a time when all of us are going to retire, or you want to retire. And for you to properly plan for that, it's important that you take the right steps at the right time, in the right manner, so that in the end, you can be one of the people that successfully retire. So my presentation, I'll talk about the planning, the execution, and the end game. Knowing that I've got only 10 minutes, I'll try to be quick. So, planning, and why are we calling it private wealth? This is something that you have to, everybody has to be honest about it with themselves, have an honest conversation with themselves, and ask themselves the important questions. For you to be able to plan, for you to be able to know that I want to get to Lilongwe, you need to know, do I have enough fuel in the car? Or do I have money to get there? Or what do I have? Without asking yourselves the right questions before you start your journey, you might find yourself, getting stuck somewhere in the middle, or even forgetting. So you need to understand where you are in terms of your financial circumstances, in terms of your age, in terms of your family situation, and then you also need to see that what is it that you can do to prepare for the journey. And then, most importantly, how much time do I have? The younger you are, obviously you've got the luxury of time that you can plan. The older you are, or the closer you are to retirement, you may not have the same luxury as somebody else that is younger. So what is financial planning? So it's not something that should just be taken lightly. Financial planning is a process of setting life goals and making the plans to achieve them through proper management of your finances. So it's not just a fancy word of something that only certain people can do. Everybody can sit down and make a plan for their to achieve their goals through proper management of finances. So, as I was saying earlier, that's the cycle that we all go through. There's the learning phase, usually from 0 to 25. And at this stage, there are people that are spending for you. They are putting you through college, through school, through college, taking care of your every expenses, whether you're sick and everything. And then, the age where I believe all of us are is the earning phase. And at this phase is the time where you're earning, but at the same time, you're also spending for children, or you're spending for other people that are in the learning phase, the dependents. And then later on, there will come a time when you're no longer earning, you're just spending. So who's going to be paying for you when you reach the spending stage? That's the question that each and every one of us needs to ask themselves. Who is going to be paying for me when I retire? Are you going to be relying on your children to be taking care of you? Times are changing. Maybe our generation is still taking care of our parents, but most of our kids these days, are they going to be able to take care of us? Or their priorities are going to change? So you need to have that honest conversation with yourself and figure out who is going to take care of you when you're spending and you're not earning anymore. So there are so many misconceptions about financial planning and about money and about preparing for retirement. And I'll not go through all of them, but just one of them is that a lot of people think that in order to start financial planning, they should only wait until they've got a few years to retirement. Obviously, that's not true, like I said, and as I'll show you, I'll show you later, the more time you have, the better it is for yourself. So it's better to start earlier, not to wait until you only have a few years to retirement. Because when you're younger, you've got time to make mistakes and recover from the mistakes, unlike when you've already stopped earning income. And the next phase, after you've come up with your plan and you understand your current situation, what next? The execution. So you have to look at your sources of money, whether it's just income, we've got other businesses, how do you balance that? That is really striking the right balance between current consumption and future consumption. So obviously there's that desire for, instant gratification. If we don't strike the right balance, you find that maybe all of your income that we're earning, we're spending it now and not preparing for anything, and not investing in the right way. And perhaps maybe not taking the right investment risk as we are saving and earning the money. So some of the tips for execution, there are so many of them, but it's very important that you should have a budget and should always spend from a budget. This, most of the times you take it lightly, and you find yourself that, okay, I've received my money. First of all, let me pay for this, pay for that, pay for this. Then I'll save later. It never works. So it's important to have a budget, and the first 2 points are going together. When you have a budget, you can give yourself a budget that every month, at least 10% or 20% of my salary, I need to put it for my future self. So you're paying yourself, your future self, to take care of yourself at the time that you retire. You need to understand the options that are available for investing. I'll mention a few of them later on, but if you don't seek to understand, if you don't go out seeking for the right information, you'll find that your friends are talking about, I think like this last few days, several companies were paying dividends. And when I'm landed that my message that they've received a dividend in their account, and perhaps you'll be wondering that, now. But maybe you didn't go out and seek the right information to find yourself in a space where you have got the option and you can be able to get that investment. Another important thing is to understand the risk that is involved before taking each and every investment. You need to understand so that you don't find yourself taking risks that are beyond your tolerance. What I mean by that is somebody that is maybe has got 2 years to retire, and they want to take a risk in an investment that will take maybe 10 years or 20 years to mature. So you take all your money, you plant trees that are going to take 20 years before you can even start cutting them down. So that's something that can end you up in trouble. Debt. It's important to understand the importance of debt, how best you can use it to leverage, to grow your wealth in as quickly as possible. But also, it has to be the debt that is well calculated. So there's a difference between just saving and investing. If you're just saving in a bank account, under a pillow, or however way, there's that red line at the bottom. Your money will grow, but it cannot grow as much as if you are investing wisely, if you're investing smartly. The same amount of money that someone is saving could grow so much higher if it's invested in the right assets, in the right manner. You find yourself that you're able to grow your wealth very, very much. I want to spend a bit of time here in terms of the asset classes, the investment options that we have in the market. We've got the fixed income, and these have got a purpose of serving as liquidity, providing liquidity. So these fixed income instruments, they are such that you know exactly how much you're going to get and when you're going to get it. That's why we term them as fixed income instruments. For example, fixed deposits. You'll be able to know that I'm investing 1 million kwacha in a 30-day fixed deposit, and my interest rate is 20%. You know exactly when you're going to get it. Whether you're investing in a 10-year treasury note, you also know exactly that I'm going to get 35% return, and I'll be getting a coupon of 15. I'll be getting part of that interest as time goes, so you'll be able to fully understand. And then we've got the stock market. We've got I don't know how many of you are fully aware and are investing on the stock market. I know several in here that I've worked with. The stock market is where you can become part owner of any of the 16 companies on the stock market. And they can give you can get a lot of growth. And I'll show you an example of how much growth you can be able to get from the stock market. We also have property as an asset class, and we've got alternative investments. So most of the times, I think as Malawians, most of us are very comfortable with property. Any amount of money that we get, we buy a plot, we're putting up a building, we're very, very comfortable with property. But the point that I'm trying to make on this slide is the importance of diversification. What if you've got so many plots and but you don't have any fixed income or anything in the stock market, and you just need a small amount of money to pay for school fees for your child who's going to university? What are you going to do? Are you going to sell a house or a plot worth 30 million because you wanted to get 5 million? Are you going to sell a house as quickly as you'd want in order to get the liquidity? So it is very important that as you're investing, you have a diversified portfolio that is going to save your liquidity needs, that is going to help you to grow your portfolio as quickly as possible. And then you also have the other asset classes that will give you value, and then you also have diversity on your portfolio. This is just an example, and it's a real life example of if you had invested 50 million kwacha in 2017, how much would that amount have become now in 2024 in different asset classes? So if you had bought NBS shares worth 50 million kwacha in 2017, by now those shares would have been worth 680 million kwacha. And that is a live example. And this is before the most recent price increase. If you had bought National Bank shares in 2017, a month ago, those shares would have been worth 580 million. Is it 380 million? The font is small. 380 million kwacha. And there are all those other examples. just to show that the growth that I was talking about on the previous slide, it's not just something that is, baked up. In the recent, I think in the recent 2 years, our stock market in Malawi has been doing very well. So many people have become billionaires just because they had invested and stayed the course. There are risks that are involved. As you can see some of the graphs, there are times when the price is going to go up, it's going to go down. But over time, overall, there's a positive trajectory that you can get from investing in different asset classes. So that's just to show you that as you're preparing and planning for retirement, how are you investing your money? What more are you doing so that you find yourself in a situation whereby, you've really grown your wealth and you can actually choose to retire earlier than you'd wanted to do other things. And there are so many other goals. Retirement is not the only goal that investing wisely can help you to achieve. I want you to watch this video that talks about diversification. It's a short one.
The greatest the greatest issue you must deal with in retirement is cash flow.
Cash flow.
If you can deal with that, financially, you'll be set.
Okay.
The problem is that many people get to retirement and they are asset rich but cash poor.
Right. So they've got a lot of assets, whether it's land or stocks, but they're like
They have no money.
liquidity.
They are no liquid.
They
They are not
have
liquid.
no cash,
Right.
which is why, if you all guys who are listening to us, you've been wondering, why are we? I don't know. Let me ask the question to those who are listening. Why are you sending money home to your parents? But they have their own house.
Right.
They have land. They even grow their own food, have animals there. But why do they need cash? Because cash is what keeps you moving in this world. Unfortunately, that's what it is.
Right.
In the past, maybe the land and the house could have taken care of you, but right now, what keeps you moving in the world is cash. Because there's still, amongst them, there'll still be a wedding coming up. There'll
Yes.
still be a funeral.
Yes.
There'll be a birthday.
Yes.
There'll be some celebration. There'll
Yes.
be Christmas. There'll
Yeah.
be whatever it is, Sikuku will come up at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you need cash.
Yeah.
That's true.
Doesn't matter how many plots you have.
Yeah.
Now here is the problem. So you've been buying plots all your life. Now you're retired.
Right.
You don't have the cash flow. Your retirement, which is your pension fund, is catering for maybe, if you're lucky, 30% of your needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where are you getting the cash from? So you ask your children, God willing, they send you something. And I'm not saying don't send your parents cash. Please
Yeah.
do and support, because probably they weren't prepared. But what I'm trying to make sure is that you will be prepared when you get there.
Yeah.
So you're asking your children for money. Next thing is if they
Sorry about that. So as we're waiting for that to come back,
the greatest issue you must deal with in retirement is cash flow.
Cash flow.
If you can deal with that, financially, you'll be set.
Okay.
The problem is that many people get to retirement and they are asset rich but cash poor.
Right. So they've got
all right, so I think the video is almost coming to an end, but the point, it is just emphasizing the point that I made earlier, where if you're, by the time you're retiring, your portfolio is not well diversified, you find yourself in a situation where you are having to liquidate assets that are not, that you shouldn't have liquidated at that time. You find yourself maybe selling a house or a plot Mapuma, as a result, to sell it at a lower value than you should have sold it. So the idea here is that you really need to diversify. I'll give a client that I worked with about three years ago. He was an MD of a company. He had about 4 years to retire. So somebody just told him he was struggling to pay school fees for his firstborn son, who was going to university in South Africa. So he needed 12 million kwacha to pay for the flights, accommodation, and every school fees for the whole year. And he didn't have that 12 million kwacha. And yet he has houses, plots, so many assets that, but he did not have the liquidity. He ended up going to the bank, got a loan, which he was not happy with, to be under that pressure. So when I went to him, I said, look, he asked me, how can you help me? Because I've got another son. In the next 3 years, he'll also be going to university. How can you help me to avoid this situation in future? So I calculated for him that if you want to have, to find yourself with 12 million in 3 years' time, but also for the others, but also to be paying school fees for the one who is there, all he needed to do was to invest 520,000 kwacha every month. And for him, that was like nothing. It's like, are you serious? Is that all I need? And indeed, he started that journey. Every month, he was disciplined. 520,000 kwacha would come through to us. We built an investment portfolio for him. And being that the period was not that long, we made sure that we are investing in such a way that we're not taking too much risk. He really needed to achieve that goal. And indeed, 3 years, by the time the first 3 years was coming to an end, he was able to pay school fees for his second son, continue paying school fees for the one that had already gone to university. And by the time he was retiring, he was very comfortable. He was not even worried about school fees anymore. So the seeking information point that I said, we should not take it like, because sometimes you could be battling with something, or you could be struggling with achieving something when you have the solution within you, when you already have the financial power within you, just without knowing how best to execute, such that you make the most out of the resources that you have. So in terms of the end game, what do you see your retirement looking like? What's the portfolio? What's your portfolio looking like? We're all on pension as long as we're working. So you've got your pension. Do you know how much you're going to be receiving as your annuity? Fortunately, Nico Pensions has got a mobile app. If you're with Nico Pensions, you can be able to check on the app how much your annuity will be once you retire. But when you see that figure, are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable that you're going to be surviving on that and maintaining the life that you want to survive with? Annuity. There are so many annuity options that you can be able to choose from, so that you maximize, you have the best value from your investment. Medical cover. That's very, very important, that you all have to have medical cover as you're retiring. I already spoke about cash flows. So the final, in closing, I'll just say and emphasize the importance of getting a financial advisor. And financial advisor is free. If you come to Nico Asset Managers, we'll give you all this information for free. So get yourself a financial advisor so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you're retiring and you're not prepared. I spoke earlier about annuity. I think Nico Life has just introduced Tikolore annuity. It's perfect for people that are retiring. You get both the cash from the annuities, but also the medical cover, and that's something that is really, really important. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time, let me stop here, and maybe there'll be 1 or 2 questions that someone might have. Thank you.
A round of applause for Tumu, ladies and gentlemen. You did lapse your 10 minutes, and like I said, we're trying to stick to our time, but Tumu is available for the rest of the day for all your questions and answers. She's available for that. She's got business cards here as well, so feel free to interact with her as well as the team from Nico in regard to any questions that you might have. Proceeding with our program during this time, maybe we can just take a consensus. Should we go to our next presentation or do the tea break? Next presentation. there was a little bit of an outcry then that, it's nice to take a bit of a break every now and then so that people can refresh and come back a bit more fresh. Our next speaker is Dr. Wisely Piri, who is the Group Managing Director of Spark Systems Limited, and he's also the MCCCI President. A little bit about Dr. Piri. Regarded as the father of technology and innovations in Malawi, Dr. Wisely Piri is an African dollar multi-million based in Malawi. He's the founder and CEO of Spark Systems Limited, a multi-million dollar ICT firm he founded in 2013 in Blantyre, Malawi. Under his leadership, Spark Systems has grown into a leading ICT firm in Africa with offices in Malawi, Rwanda, and Zambia, and operations in 10 African countries. The company, which employs over 100 permanent staff and over 300 temporary workers across Africa, is a pioneer in providing IT solutions for banking and telecommunication systems on the continent. Dr. Piri's contributions to the ICT sector extend beyond his company. As the former president of the ICT Association of Malawi, he played a crucial role in revitalizing the industry and establishing the ICT Innovation Awards to highlight local talent amongst others. He currently serves as president on the board of the Malawi Chambers of Commerce and Industry and is the president of the MUBAS Alumni Association. He's a graduate in electrical engineering from Polytechnic, currently known as MUBAS, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree with a distinction. He holds a number of awards and recently obtained a doctorate of philosophy in ICT, innovation and business from UNICAF University. He has been awarded numerous awards, including the Most Inspiring Male Corporate Leader Award at the Consumer Choice Awards Malawi 2024. His specialization is in ICT infrastructure, databases, and cyber security. Spark Systems' impressive achievements have been recognized with several awards, including NetApp's fastest growing company in Africa, ICT Firm of the Year 2024 and 2019, and the Best ICT Firm in Infrastructure 2019. The company's success is a testament to Dr. Piri's vision and dedication. A philanthropist at heart, Dr. Piri has given back to his community by building school blocks for his former primary school. He has sponsored a number of students for their education at various universities and secondary schools in Malawi, and has also sponsored some sports including football and golf for the mental well-being of the youth. He remains committed to expanding his impact, and plans are underway to establish new offices in Tanzania and Mozambique. Dr. Wisely Piri's story is a powerful reminder that with determination, vision, and hard work, one can overcome any obstacle and achieve remarkable success. His journey continues to inspire many in Malawi and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as Dr. Piri comes to the stage.
Okay. So the previous speaker was saying invest wisely. Don't invest in me. I was getting worried that people will start sending me monies, yeah? Good morning. I know I'm standing between you and tea break, but I needed a bit of some more energy. Good morning. Today we'll be discussing the big data analysis and artificial intelligence and how it applies to the insurance sector. Some of you might be worried. I think a bit of a background on Spark Systems has been provided already. We operate in 10 countries currently, Malawi an owned company. So for me, Spark is one of the success stories that comes out of Malawi. And the unfortunate part is when you're reading online, most of the times, the stories are always bad. And at the end of it, we're having it difficult to sell the country. Because everyone, if I might ask what you posted for the past 2-3 years, will be cyclones, we are hungry, we go somewhere else and beg. So let's try to push up some of the success stories that we have. At Spark, we do a number of things, which includes on the infrastructure, the data consolidation, disaster recoveries. We've done a number of systems for the banks here. Actually, we support 80% of the banks. And all the major telco companies, they will have at least one of our systems. We've also done some system on the cyber security. You've seen, I think one of the issues that all of you guys know about is ransomwares and whatever, because they've happened recently. But the attacks in the country have been even bigger than that. Sometimes we receive calls in the middle of the night. You know, one thing that I've seen is every time people want to buy, their biases, their politics and all that. If it's a normal tender, up until you are hit and you want support, at that point you don't need the procurement manager to buy for you. Then you start calling who has the skills to support us. And that's the time that people always remember us. And we've taken advantage of that. We're still training our guys. We're still making sure we have more skills than others. And on top of that, we're even offering trainings. So we've got the education center where we're offering trainings on most of the things. So some of the things that I'll be mentioning today, we're training people on them. We are also an exam center. Some of you that have gone for masters in the past 4 to 7 years might have come and do your exams at our centers. So in case you need these type of the skills, we are there, and we're Malawians. So on top of just calling us in the middle of the night that we've been hacked, you can still remember us in the other sides of it. Okay, so today we'll be talking about big data and artificial intelligence. But the question is, how big is big data? From the time you guys, you've been sitting here, you've created a numerous amount of data already. Have you posted your photos already on Facebook? Have you sent some messages on WhatsApp? So the data that we'll be looking at is the data that you're generating and the data that as an insurer you already have them. But maybe the question is, how are you using that data? So the question still remains, as of now, how big is that big data? And how can you leverage that data to make your informed decisions? The second part, we'll be looking at the artificial intelligence. So the question that has been there all along has, you know, some people just think, this is statistics. You've just taken a frame, put it there, and relabeled it, and say it's machine learning and artificial intelligence. Is it? It's not. If you did your school at Shango, we're not talking statistics. We're talking machine learning. I think for the past 2 years or so, since the coming of ChatGPT, now people are getting to understand what comes on top of the machine learning. So it's not your normal statistics. Yeah. And how is this being leveraged in the insurance industry? You guys already have an enormous amount of data. Which type of data do you have as of now? You've got policyholder data. We are agreeing, right? Me as a policyholder, you already have my data. This is not the data that will be coming at the end of this. And in this data, you've got demographics, risks, profiles, and all that. You've got also the claims data. If I've been coming and claiming my monies from you guys and saying, no, you insured me, already you have my data there. Then on top of that, some of you are a bit more intelligent. You go into the market trends. Okay? So you're looking at the economic indicators as an insurer. What are the economic indicators? I think we all heard about Malawi going into hyperinflation. Then ICAM came some 2-3 days ago and said no. So if you're an insurer, you should be able to look into those. So this is thinking beyond Malawi, especially some of you that you are in a number of countries already. I will tell you, for us, as PAC, most of our, it always happens, don't worry. Most of our businesses we're doing in a number of countries already, like I said. So the guys that are giving us credit outside, because we've got some credit in dollars, which are already in millions of dollars. So the guys that are giving us those credits as the suppliers, already they've got one issue from Malawi side. We are failing to remit the dollars, right? So you find most of the suppliers that are failing to supply. Why? We don't have dollars as a country. Or we do have dollars, but we prefer not to put in the normal banking system because of other issues. So we've seen some of the insurers that are able now, if these insurers were maybe the Malawi insurers, what they would do is, this one is in this group, we're not going to insure him. That's what most of you guys do. I remember at some point when my mom was alive, I wanted to put her on some medical scheme. They just told me she's 65 years, we're not insuring her. You don't look at the health, you don't look at anything, you just make a decision. One size fits all. And even as of now, especially when I'm in Irongwe, so I drive my car, I park, I want to eat. The time I'm coming out, I'll have about 10 agents. They'll just come and say, we can insure you from this and this, we can insure you. You've got zero data. You literally just look at the person, then you think you can sell them anything. And at the end of this, when you start doing that, we'll be like, Nazim Vagari, you might come with new things, Goma. You don't know me as a client. So there are also external factors. We are able to check things like weather patterns and all that. I think Mara have been having a lot of these issues, which sometimes you sit down and think, they are in trouble. I remember, was it last week or the other week? One of Vujani's afforders Nayaga. The comments now, hey, insure I mean I could eat that. But nothing in dramas minutes. Yeah, but there are some things you can't predict, but there are some things that you can predict. So you have most of those data already. Okay. Now, as we're moving forward, we should see how we can use artificial intelligence or big data to enhance underwriting, pricing, and risk management. I think insurance is all about risk. Because you guys, you told me that the moment you die, we'll do ABC. But you've already calculated that this guy is not dying now. He'll be dying in the next whatever. But there are some things, sometimes there will be an accident and I'll die. But it's all about risk, how you calculate and package it. So we're using big data analysis to empower insurance companies to analyze data sets and identify the patterns. Like I say, there are some data that you guys already have. Then there are some other data that you don't have, which we'll be looking at to say, how do you analyze those data? How do you make your informed decisions based on those data that's coming up? So you should be able to accurately make decisions in underwriting and personalizing the pricing model. You know, nowadays, when I go to an insurance company, for example, I want to insure my car, most of the times you just look at the car and say, this is the figure. Even if I haven't claimed anything for the past 20 years. And someone has been claiming almost every month, it's the same value. So questions now are coming up. When you're looking at the figures and saying only 2.5% are insured, there are some questions that are coming up. Just last month, I think you guys also share a bit of information. I think we're also going to that. There's a day that we had 5 insurance companies coming into our building. One day. We just allow one, the other person also comes. So, Mukuza information, which is not allowed. And when you're coming there, RES has got 0 data. Then I'm being asked to say, why are they on third party? You know what I answered? I tried to put them on comprehensive. for 3 years, and it didn't work out. This is the data the insurance companies they already have. So they were supposed to come to me with new information or something, but they didn't have. Because the time insured on comprehensive, you want to claim back, it was a headache. The central bank says what? 14 days? Do you guys adhere to 14 days? You create issues, right? Another example, when we're setting up the building, so the contractor will sign a contract, and part of it you're supposed to insure. And he decided to go to an insurance company. And they brought that good document to say, this place is now insured. So when I look at the document, I'm like, I'm in IT. This guy might have done this using Photoshop. Can I just confirm? So I called the insurance company. I just called, oh, my name is Wisely. I'm from Spark. Ah, yes. I just want to confirm that did you issue? The guy cut off the phone. So I said, oh, the phone has dropped. I called again. He never picked up. Then I was in Rongo. I drove to Brandy to go into the company. You sit down, you find everyone else in the office is busy. Later on I said, I'm not moving. Aren't you guys have to tell me what is happening? Then I had to barge into the boss's office. You ask him and then he's like, so, Pachitigajani Basite. No, I just wanted to confirm this document. Is it from you? Is it legit? Okay. So you can see they got our monies, but already they didn't want to settle. Why? One size fits all. And Hakamapanga Amangotibera. You are failing to identify the patterns. Again, on the same data that you have, you should be able to price based on the data that you should be able to have out there. Let's look at it in this way. If I'm a guy, argument's sake, Nico said he should invest wisely. So I will maybe refer to Nico. So argument's sake, I've got my cars insured with Nico on comprehensive. Then every weekend I'm posting photos of me getting drunk. You have that data, not so? Why should you penalize everyone else? If I'm posting my photos every time I'm drunk, I haven't had an accident, you should be able to pull that data and know how you price it. You're always drunk, so this is what we're going to charge you. And you also use the data for risk management, proactively identifying potential risk, and predict claims frequencies. I think for Mara we've had a number of cyclones, right? Almost every year or every 2 years, we're having a cyclone. How are you guys using that data to price your... Have we ever thought of that? I'm hearing you're able to do. So that's even better. So there are some things you can use with big data, the data that is being generated in the insurance industry. One of them is automatic claims processing. You already have your systems. And at the end of it, I've said, I want to claim. I got insured, so by law, I'm supposed to be protected. And I want to do my claim. You should be able to use AI to assess the claims automatically and even expedite the processing. Last month, I was telling the guys in Zambia that in Marawi we're way better. We don't have power issues. But today, I don't know. So already you having this vast amount of data that I've shown already. And some of you, we work with you, so I even know some of your databases.